Really basic stuff, but I wanted to show you some applications that you can use in some of these kind of things. If I'm gonna move to a different file. I'm gonna pull this one up here. This is an application where we're gonna use Lookup. It's a very practical application. There's a particular company out there that says has 50 different fields. 50 different fields that they want to just do a template here, add stuff into, and then use these macros to move the data on down to somewhere else. Now, notice this is the form. Usually when you do this, you're going to use a lookup table. Here's all your data. This is your data that you're going to use. It's already preset somewhere. So you don't have to type this stuff in over and over and over again. You set it in a lookup field in each one of these. Okay? Now, with the beauty of Excel, notice I'm going to go ahead and put this stuff across here. All the user has to do is click on, let's say we want to put it in, this is field number 3. And then, of course, you would put the data in, whatever you wanted to there. Moisture, let's say there's 40% moisture. Crop development. And we're just going to grab a few of these right here and show you how with drop-down boxes and the codes that bring those in, people don't have to type anything. The beauty of this, too, is by them not having to type it in, they can't put an erroneous number in there. It's actually, they're very limited to what they can put in. Okay? And for those of you who don't get discouraged because you look at that, it's really not as difficult, but it does take a little bit of time to work with it. Once you catch a few basic principles with it, then you can go, oh, yep, I can do that. And that's what I started with. And if you look at those, they're very, very basic, but it does, like any other language, it takes a little bit of practice. What I've done is gone through and I've put, with these drop-down boxes and these input fields in here, I have put some data that's already in here. This is a very unique field. Now, what I want to do is I want to move all of this data now to the appropriate field. So if I've written a macro that basically moves the data. So if I push this button, notice it comes right down here to field number 3, and all that data now has moved from here down to here. That's a very simple, when we started talking, I talked about using variables. So I want to show you the code on that. And so what I do, I want to go to assign the macro, and then I want to hit the edit. Alright, we started with this form. We started with number 10. That's the row number. Notice each one of these variables is picking up information. Each one of these things right here is picking up all of those fields that are across there. It's picking up that value out of Excel. Once it picks up those values, then it moves it down to where it's supposed to, and now those fields actually now, you've moved all those values down to something else. This is, again, the principle we talked about is using variables. And Excel and Visual Basic remembers what these are. You have to name them. And name them what you know. And if you notice, field ID, moisture ID, crop ID, all these things help somebody if they're looking at this. You're moving values. I want to go back. Notice again, what we've done is we've moved values from this input screen down to another spot that now becomes a unique record. Okay, now if I wanted to, I want to clear this input, which is right up here. I push the clear button. Notice it cleared all these fields. Okay, I want to do that again right quick now, and I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do field number 1. And just grab these little things, and it doesn't make any difference, you know, on this one here. They would be more meaningful if it was your data. But each time you want to enter stuff in, you're using this macro to speed up the process, plus cut down on your errors. The fewer the people that, if you don't have a chance to put in some other weird thing, plus you don't want to, you're going to have to type all this stuff in. And if you want to convert it, everything else, it's always named exactly what you're supposed to. Now, notice I put in new information in. It's a different field ID. And if I hit move the data, notice it put it in a completely different spot. It goes and gets those variables, and the most important thing here is it's looking for where field ID number 1 goes in. It's the very first one on the list. Now I have set here that there's 50 different fields here. So you can just keep adding the stuff in here and then dropping it down. And the good thing about this, if I wanted to print this, then it's basically going to print it in a summary report that I can quickly compare side by side or whatever. By using macros, you can design all kinds of reports to do what you want to.